Not a programmer? Want to use SigParser? I'm going to show you how to automatically extract contacts from your email into Salesforce and capture all their contact details from signatures. First, I've sent myself a fake email. We can see it here in the browser. Test user, VP of operations, cell, office, and then we have an address here, which is the White House. So we'll go over to Zapier. Zapier, we can see there's a Salesforce integration. We're going to start with making a Zap, so we click Make Zap at the top right. And then we'll go ahead and pick the Gmail account because we're going to pull all the email out of a Gmail account. So in this case, we're going to say every time there's a new email, we want to run this trigger. So on every new email, we're going to pull it from the test email account. Click Save and Continue. We will pick all the fields or all the emails. This is going to pull down a sample for us to use. We will use the sample that we already set up. If we just expand this here, we can see here the email is from test@dragonnet user. We'll click Continue. Then what we'll do is we're going to send this to SigParser first. So we have parse signature action, parse an email for contact details like phone numbers, titles, and addresses. It also does LinkedIn and Twitter as well. We'll connect an account. Now, if you don't have your account already set up, you go to sigparser.com, you log in, select a plan, you'll get so many API calls per day, and then you'll enter your key into Zapier here when you click Connect Account. We'll click Save and Continue. Now that we've selected our account. So now what we're going to do is we're going to map fields from the Gmail email into the SigParser. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say subject. We'll pick the subject field from the email. Then for from address, this is going to be the email address. So from email, so this is who the email is from. From name, this is going to be from name. Here we go, test user. The HTML body, so we'll map this HTML, it's right here. And then the plain text body, body plain. And then we will use the date. So this is the date of the email. So we'll pick that, and then we'll click Continue. So now this is our preview of what it's going to send to SigParser. We're going to test it real quick. So we'll send a test to SigParser. And the test was successful. You can see that up here. We can see it was able to parse the address out. It was able to get the office phone number. And then down here, we'll see it got the title and the mobile phone number. All right, so now we'll go ahead and click Finish. You're probably wondering, hey, seems like we're missing the Salesforce part. We are. So now we need to click Add Step, and we're going to say Salesforce. And every time that we see this contact, we want to, here we go, find contact. Find a contact by a field and value you choose. Optionally create one if none are found. All right, so we're going to find a contact. We have a Salesforce account, but I'm going to set up another account. Allow, but it'll illustrate the point well enough. And we'll click Save and Continue. Field to search by. So in this case, we want to search by email address. So we're going to see if we can find an email. So here we go. We have email here. Now, we want to go use the value from the signature that was parsed. So now we're going to say who it was from, so email address. So we want to create the Salesforce contact if it doesn't exist. That's correct. So if we don't have any contacts with that email address, we want to create the contact. So then here, we'll start filling in the details like last name, which is required, and then account. So this is a reference to their object. So we have to pick an account that we want to put this contact into in Salesforce. So what I'm going to do, because we don't have an account in Salesforce yet, I'm going to make an account specifically for SigParser contacts we found in SigParser. What you can do later is go categorize them to the right account, but this will just make it easier for you now just to dump them all into this one account, and then later you can change their account to whatever you want their proper account to be. This only happens if we don't find the contact. So you'll basically look in here and see, oh, here's all my new contacts that came from SigParser. And then you can go dump them wherever you want to put them. And then I'll just click Save. So now I've got this account. There's no one in it. We'll go back to Zapier. And so it looks like we've now got our SigParser contacts in here, our account. So they're showing up. One thing I had to do was select an account, and then when I picked the drop-down list again, it refreshed and pulled the latest in. So now what I can do is go in here and map in these different fields for this contact. Now, what's going to happen is later in the step, we're going to get all this data again. But what I'm going to do is just map in the minimum number of fields here, and then we'll see how that works. So I'm going to search here for email, from email. Actually, let's go down here to email address. And this is going to be office phone and title. And then the title. All right, so now we'll click continue. So it's going to create that contact if it doesn't exist, or we'll update it. So we'll hit fetch and continue. So that was the test. So if we want to test to see if we can create the record, now we should be able to come back here and see our contact over here. Here we go. Here's our test user, SigParser contacts, phone, email. And so that is how you set up a Zapier step to find or create a contact. Actually, we have one more step. So let's go ahead and send ourselves a new email to simulate the contact having a new title. So another test, but with a new title. And so he's now the president of operations. We'll go ahead and just send this to ourselves. So we're going to send that. So now what we want to go do is come back over here to new email, and we're going to pull in some samples. I'm going to get more samples. And so what we want to do is simulate the guy's title change. So that should update in Salesforce. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to use this new email to just simulate that. So you see President of Operations here and the new sample I just pulled in from Gmail. So I'm going to pick that as our sample. Yep. And then we're going to come down here, continue. We're going to have it run this step again, run this test again, and we're going to see that whether or not it actually updates Salesforce. So if we come over here and I refresh this, you'll see the test worked. And if we come over here to details, it still says VP of Operations. So it created the user the first time, but the second time it comes through, it's not going to update his signature, which we actually want it to do. So what we need to do is set up a step that will then also update the contact as the last step. So if we come over here, we're going to add another step. So we're going to click Add Step. We're going to click Salesforce. We will update a contact. So we'll pick Update Contact here. We'll pick our fake user account. Then what you'll notice is it loaded all the contacts that we have in our database, in our Salesforce database. But we don't actually want that, because we actually want to use the ID of the contact that we found on the previous step. So we'll do that using the Use Custom Value Advanced. A new field popped in here that will allow us to pick the output from the previous step. So we can come down here and actually pick ID. So this is the ID of the Find or Create Contact output. So the Find or Create Contact generated an ID for that contact. We'll pick that. We don't need to worry about account because we already picked the ID for the contact. We could reassign the account to a different account in Salesforce if we wanted to, but we're not going to do that. Now what we can do is populate the email field if we wanted to, but we already looked it up by email, so we don't need to change that. We could change the first name and last name if we wanted to. I would say we probably don't need to do that either because we already populated it in the previous step. But what we'll do is we'll come down here to business phone, because that could change. And we'll take the results from SigParser, and we will, so office phone, and then we'll pick title. Let's just search for it. Title. Email. Contact title. And is there anything else? Oh, we could do the street as well. So, street address. Here we go. Oh, and mobile phone. Mobile phone number. That should be it. All right, we'll go ahead and click continue. And then we will send a test to SalesForce. President of operations here, and if we come over here to SalesForce, we'll refresh, and when we do the refresh, we will see the latest data, which is president of operations filled in. We're going to do one last step here, which is to look at how to handle null values coming in from an email for signature, but then in SalesForce we already have the value in SalesForce. So what we want to do is we want to make it so that we never overwrite a value in SalesForce with a blank value if we already had the value before. So we can do that inside of Zapier by creating these actions that are these transform actions. So let's go ahead and delete this here. We'll really delete it, and then we'll add a new action, and it'll be this text action here. So we'll come down here and we'll do the formatter action, which is this squiggly equals sign. So with the formatter action, I'm going to use a text action, and then once that loads, I will pick the default value. The value, the text you would like to check if it's empty, is going to be parse signature, and in this case we will do, let's just do office phone. So we'll do office phone here. So then the default value is going to come from SalesForce, and it's just going to be phone. If we come down here to the SalesForce phone number, that's what we use there, we'll hit continue. And that will ensure that we never put a null value into SalesForce and overwrite something good. So what we can do here is we can do that for every one of the fields that we want to ensure that we never overwrite with a null value. Title is a good example. These phone numbers, addresses. Thanks for watching. You can do a lot more with Zapier and SigParser. This is just one example. If you're interested in other integrations, please email us at support@salesmino.com.